right, so we got Eddie here, his girlfriend Corey.
Hello. Christmas has come early for me. Assuming this is
the tips, yeah.
Ooh,
Tips with
look
those.
at that.
Oh, beautiful.
These are nice.
But what's cool about AWE's exhaust systems is they give you reconfigurable exhaust tips. So if you wanted to change up the setup, you're more than welcome to in the future, which is nice.
Oh, look at this, Pawin. Yeah.
That looks almost identical to mine, minus the rear. Actually, yeah, it almost looks
exactly the same. Look at the work that they did on this piece, and they cut their logo out right here.
Your exhaust hangers are facing the other way, because mine face that way.
This is beautiful. Look at that flange on it too. Look at this one. I had an exhaust once that just looked like this at the end. Just this.
How did the neighbors like that?
They did not like it. No, it was my old Civic.
R.I.P. You guys can't tell, it's freezing right now, so
It's
touching
so
all
cold.
these parts are...
New England has finally arrived. Winter. New England in the winter has finally arrived. What size piping is this, Pawin?
I believe that's 3-inch.
I
Yeah,
believe
full
so.
3-inch from the front pipe all the way from the cat.
Fancy box. Ooh, look at those. And a lollipop. It's cherry. They knew me too well. You want my cherry lollipop?
Sure.
Here you go.
Thanks.
So
you
romantic.
don't get an exhaust. You can have a lollipop.
Yay.
Ooh, these are gorgeous, Pawin.
Can I get a side shot of that?
Yeah.
Here, can you match it up to the car actually? I want to
Sure.
see how that looks against the what color is this again? Polished metal?
Polished metal metallic, I think? I don't remember.
Most complicated color name ever.
So let's compare it to my wonderful stock tips.
Oh, that's gonna look awesome.
It's gonna be a nice
dude, look, there's
upgrade.
there's like slight.
Yeah, look at inside there.
Wow, that's cool.
These are beautiful.
It's probably like the heat treatment process that got that. That's really cool, dude.
It's very nice.
So now that we have the system unboxed, basically my job now is to install this exhaust system tomorrow. It's getting a little bit cold, so we're gonna package all this stuff up. I'll talk more about the exhaust system tomorrow, but I'm freezing. I want to get
I am
food.
too, and
So,
hungry.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, so it's the next day. I was about to take some stock exhaust clips and sound bites for you guys, but unfortunately, I just realized I don't have an SD card. I'm pissed because I was downloading a couple clips from yesterday into my computer and I just forgot to swap it back to the camera, so hopefully I can find a spare card. Wasn't able to find an SD card in my house, so I gotta run to CVS or Walgreens or something. I like it. So in case you guys are curious, the recommended break-in period for these exhaust systems apparently is about, I want to say 800 to 1,000 miles or so. So you should expect the packing inside the resonators and the exhaust system to kind of expand a little bit, and also gain some carbon deposits on the inner surfaces of the tubing. And all of that will really help refine the tones of the exhaust note. So I'm really excited to show you guys what they sound like after the exhaust systems are fully broken in. But to be honest, I'm already really liking the way it all sounds. Like I mentioned before, the 180 technology that's implemented in this system really doesn't have drone at all. I'm really excited I don't have to really raise my voice at all. And it's a joy to drive. It sounds a little bit different inside the car than outside. And I think that is due to the drone reduction that this exhaust system features. Alright, 2 memory cards, let's go. To begin the installation, I backed the car onto ramps and then supported the front of the car onto jack stands, just like I did for the exhaust installation on my Civic Si. I took some time to study the stock exhaust system on the Civic Type R and noticed that for the most part, this disassembly would be very identical to what I've done before. I needed to first remove the skid plate so I could gain access to the nuts that hold the stock front pipe onto the stock down pipe. I again chose to use penetrant oil and lithium grease to soak the exhaust nuts and exhaust hangers respectively in the entire exhaust system to make the removal process easier. For the exhaust hangers on the sides of the rear muffler, I had to remove plastic clips on each side of the fender liner so that I can get better access to grease them down. Then I proceeded to partially remove the front subframe assembly cover, taking out 5 screws and 4 plastic clips to drop it down from the car. With this panel removed, I was able to use an impact wrench to remove the 3 exhaust nuts that held the back portion of the stock exhaust system to the stock front pipe. I supported the exhaust with the jack stand just behind the center resonator, and then I took my jack to also support the rear muffler section so that I could start removing each of the stock exhaust hangers. In some cases, I found that removing the exhaust hanger completely would be beneficial so that nothing gets snagged once I drop down the stock exhaust system. The front pipe came off easy again using an impact wrench on the exhaust nuts. I then needed to remove 2 screws from the exhaust shield so that I could bend it further into the exhaust tunnel. Doing this allowed me to pull the stock front pipe out from under the car. Oh man, I'm running out of daylight here. So I got the stock exhaust system laid out right next to the AWE system right here. I kind of want to see how all these pieces go together, just to make sure I have all the pieces lined up correctly. To be honest, the removal of the stock exhaust system was a little bit more difficult than the removal of the system from my SI, mainly at the exhaust hangers, which are much beefier than the ones found on my SI. I barely could get them off of my hand, and I kind of regret not being more prepared with an exhaust hanger removal tool. So I'll link in the video description down below a tool that I would recommend that might be very helpful when you guys tackle your own exhaust systems. So for the installation, to start things off, make sure you guys are going to reuse or replace this exhaust gasket here. It fits right into the groove found on this front pipe. And then after that, you're going to transfer all the exhaust hangers to all the locations on the AWE system. They kind of omitted the ones on the front pipe, but for this system, they kept the ones on the rear muffler section here. There's 4 in the back, on the side there, 2 in the back. The only thing I want to note is that for the rear bracket section on this muffler, the prongs are facing a different direction on the sides of the exhaust than the stock exhaust system. So that leads me to believe that it might actually be easier for me to start with the rear muffler section, install this one first, work my way forward, and then afterwards I'm going to reinstall the front pipe and then try my best to mate that here. And I'll also install all the exhaust hangers while I can during that process. And then once everything is adjusted, we'll fire it up and see how this exhaust system sounds. I ended up only transferring one of the exhaust hangers over onto the new system, and then I installed the other 4 hangers on the rear section of the exhaust onto the car first. I then balanced the rear muffler section of the new system carefully onto a jack, being careful to tuck each bracket over the fender liner. I pushed each mounting point of the new exhaust system into the OEM exhaust hangers, keeping in mind that I may need to readjust them later once I piece more components together. I used jack stands to help hold the components in place as I loosely clamp down each component. After installing the exhaust hanger on the middle resonator, I noticed a small gap in between the 2 pipes of the slip joint, which led me to readjust all of the components on the exhaust hangers until all the slip joints mated together perfectly. After I was happy with the alignment, I proceeded to install the exhaust tip components, again playing around with the alignment before tightening them down completely. Depending on how you choose to clock the positioning of the clamps, you might want to consider using a ratchet wrench to tighten down the clamps. To install the new front pipe, I first transferred the old gasket onto the new front pipe. Then I proceeded to clean off the mating surface on the down pipe before attempting to fit the new front pipe from under the car. This is one of those times where I wish I had a lift. I'm stuck beneath the car right now, and I've already pretty much jacked up the side of the car, and I'm trying to, wiggle this front pipe in as much as I could so I can squeeze the pipe in here. This is definitely the most challenging part, kind of fitting the new front pipe in due to the larger diameter. So really I'm just carefully fiddling with it to make sure I squeeze this exhaust pipe in. I'm possibly bending in that exhaust shield all the way up so it gives me a little bit more of an arc so I can really just squeeze that front pipe in.
2 hours later.
So Eddie's here. Say hi, Eddie.
I'm here. Hello.
So I needed a second pair of hands because it turns out to install the front pipe, we actually had to remove the heat shield here. It was fairly easy. You just had to remove the 10mm screws. Are these bolts, screws? I don't know. I'm not a professional engineer. Anyways, so there were 10mm screws and 14mm bolts that kind of secured this in place right here. 10 mils here, 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 the 14 right there, and there was another one like right there where my finger is. Front pipe was getting caught on like this location right here, and you can kind of see where we were struggling here. Eddie suggested we would just remove the heat shield so that we have a little bit more clearance, and fortunately we finally got the front pipe in. In here you can see we almost finished the install, but we got like the major bend over the front subframe, so I'm really happy that we got that done.
Once we got the heat shielding off, it was we figured it out.
Definitely a second pair of hands needed.
Definitely a second pair of hands, especially if you don't have a lift.
So again, removing the heat shield gave us the most clearance in the exhaust tunnel here, so we can really get this 3-inch diameter piping through. It was a tight squeeze, but I'm really glad that we did that. But just acknowledging here that it's definitely recommended to first remove the exhaust shield, then install the front pipe, and then complete the rest of the install of the assembly with this middle section with the resonator. So I do want to note that before we actually bolted up to the front pipe, we didn't actually install the front pipe completely. It's still not attached to the studs on the catalytic converter, so we have enough wiggle room to really reattach this middle pipe here. I have 3 brand new exhaust nuts ready right here. And I also have some high temp NECs. You want to make sure these nuts don't come off. Dude, this NECs is like not silver.
No, it's rusty colored.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Looks like you had Taco Bell and then, evacuated into the anti-seize bottle.
Put some stud there. Gets on everything. Oh, I'm gonna gut some of myself.
But look at how nice it's going on.
I know, man.
I like your sweatshirt, by the way. I was gonna
Thank you.
comment on it before the whole anti-seize incident.
It's totally ruined by the end of the day. But I mean, it's my mistake wearing it. I need a new one anyways. Final step, of course, torquing down those exhaust nuts. I believe, I don't know, I'm gonna place the foot-pounds here. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Said 30.
Well, it's like 30-ish. I think it's like 33, 34. It might even be a little bit more. I don't know. I gotta look it up. All right, so we got the exhaust completely installed. We got that undercover completely bolted back together. Belly pan in. You excited, Eddie?
Oh, I'm so stoked. So excited that I'm shaking, and I swear to God it's not because it's freezing as hell outside.
You happy, Eddie?
I'm so happy. I'm ecstatic.
What is the biggest thing you noticed first?
Biggest thing I noticed is definitely the tone is different. It's definitely got a much more aggressive tone, especially on startup. Because obviously the best is cold startups, as any car enthusiast should know. And I just know it'll only get better because the exhaust needs to break in. And I'm excited to actually hear it under load.
So that wraps up for today's install. Of course, it's too dark in order to get some quality sound clips for you guys. Thanks again, Eddie, for letting me borrow the car. Thanks again, AWE, for supplying this exhaust for the car. We're going to get to the review in another video, but don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you guys like the contents of this video. With that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Absolutely.
Later.
Bye.
That sounds good. Okay, so you said that this car now sounds a little bit like her car.
Yes.
And what does she got?
She's got a Focus ST with a MagnaFlow exhaust. Catback.
Okay, very interested. That sounds good.
I know.
All right, let's see.
Exhaust sounds
Okay, let's see you go.
All right.
I'm done with you.
Oh, I'm in the pound seat. Can't fit. Oh. There we go.
All right, dude.
Come in.
Hey, man, take care.
All right, buddy.
Have a good night. Let me know if anything falls off.
Oh, I need my key.
This one, right?
Thank you, my friend. You got yours, right?
Yes.
Okay. See you, buddy.
Later.